A flyer is definitely the best choice for our first Pokemon, and there's none better than good old Rowlet. And so we begin the 100 Days of Pixelmon, which starts out in this quaint little town, just like a Hallmark movie. And it even has everyone giving me all of their supplies for free and letting me borrow them. For an extended period of time, of course. Most especially the Pokemart, which totally no one saw me jump off the top of after borrowing their whole supply from their attic. And might I just say, these vendors are also quite kind in letting me access to all of their supplies. I got into my first fight as well, against the glorified Grass Patch, otherwise known as Smoliv, which went quite poorly. A little embarrassing. But we're not here to talk about that, because I want to preface by saying that this is technically day 0 because of how Minecraft works, with starting the first day exactly at noon. However, I will be marking it as day 1 instead, for convenience. And because I want to get the most out of these 100 days, and I'm a night owl, I won't be sleeping. Now that that's out of the way, we have 3 goals that are almost always in every Pokemon game. The first one being, every Pokemon game has a box legendary, so I need to catch one. And that legendary does not matter as long as it has been on a box. And I'm specifically talking about game packaging and not cardboard boxes. Secondly, I need a Master Ball, because every game has a Master Ball. And lastly, 8 gyms. Possibly contentious with regions that don't have gyms. Everyone has at least some variety. And those are the goals that I shall be completing throughout this 100 days. So let's get back to day 1, shall we? I then explored the area slightly and found some cool little buildings, like this pumpkin house. And also did some preliminary Minecraft-y things, like punching a tree. Then also refamiliarizing myself with the minimap mod. Also found a Zora, which is one of my favorite Pokemon, and is actually pretty decently rare. Unfortunately, it's just a bit too powerful for me. And remember all those items that we picked up? Well, I can just sell all the ones we don't need back to the shopkeepers for a profit. That is what you like to see. Especially as the sun rises on day 2. A Mega Beedrill spawned, which is pretty cool. Pretty funny that this villager thinks I'll be coming back from after I visit Ultra Space. And after, also, I've visited bigger and better villages than this one. But now is the time to train my Pokemon and actually get better Pokemon. Plus, it's definitely a goal to evolve my Rowlet to a flying Pokemon. That said, this Ponyta will actually come in very handy if I am able to catch it. And naturally, I have only really one chance since I have a level 6 Rowlet. But apparently that's all you need. Also went and explored the mountainside and got some cobblestone and some extra coal. Also found a Pokeloot. Very nice. It was a snowball, just in case you couldn't tell by all the background text. Started heading back after that and found this trainer that just so happened to give me tons of XP, on 2 health that is. And also I found this Mawile. Unfortunately, it used all of my Dusk Balls, so I gave up on it. And headed back home, sad and mostly alone. Therefore I went to the healing center and healed up my Pokemon. Just to find that the Pokemon AI actually follows you if you fail a fight, interestingly. So I suppose that just shows that Mawile truly did want to join me. And wow, does it have a bad moveset. Alas, still level 46. Day 3 was just training up my Pokemon, specifically Rowlet, until it evolved into a Dartrix. Also I caught the Furret, don't know if you noticed that. I spent the nighttime squeezing the experience points out of every single rat I saw in this vicinity. Impeccably enjoyable. Oh, and I also found this really big house in the middle of the woods, which seemed very keen on losing some of its loot. I mean, being charitable about its loot. And also totally didn't go around the entire day, borrowing for extended period of time every single item in the entire town. Nope. But maybe here's not a time lapse of me doing exactly that?
Maybe it's for the entire day. Don't tell anyone.
Incomprehensible speeds. I know. My computer can't even handle it. Day 5 continued the same trend, except for it was mainly just battling the same guy over and over again, just to get my levels up. Also, just in case you're curious, he has a Poochyena, a Grimer, and Wilmer. All to be defeated over and over and over again. And by the end of the day, I had significantly leveled up my Dartrix to level 24. Very successful. Also because I didn't want to spend the entire day just looking at a Pokemon battle screen, I decided to check out the pink gym, which actually turned out to be a fairy gym, and found that I was vastly underleveled, considering I took my highest level as my current level. And also the fact that I only have 4 Pokemon that are pretty bad, instead of a team of all 6 good, decently great Pokemon. Therefore, I ran away, and went straight back to grinding levels on day 6. And continued doing so until nightfall. Thereupon, I climbed this random service tower to fight a Dynamax Pokemon, and succeeded valiantly, conjuring even more loot to join my chests. Also, I found an additional Silcoon to defeat as well, that decided to join our adventure. All the way to a church I found, which had a Bible that was completely empty, and a crown that I picked up, and apparently can be sold for quite a pretty penny on the black markets. I then decided it'd be a bright idea to touch a Stunfisk, and lost horrifically. But it matters not, cause after a few more raids, I got enough XP for my Dartrix to evolve into the thing that allows me to carry myself into the world unknown. A flyer, best known by the name Decidueye, and a welcome surprise in it being Hisuian, which makes it a fighting type instead of a ghost type, so that's pretty neat. And now is the time to fly and explore and get some more nutrients from my coin addiction and this presence under a Christmas tree. Ho ho ho. In a biome full of Christmas joy and splendor. A town fitting the generosity of its biome, allowing me all the goods that it has to procure and the ability to sell it right back to them. It's so kind of them. And, not to mention, it also has a whole gym that can help train up my Pokemon to fitting premium levels, in which the Beast Furret helped extremely pleasantly with. And, after a quick heal with Nurse Joy, I found a potential Piloswine that could be quite the asset to our team, because it easily devastated it. So I decided to try to catch it, and it certainly is a low catch rate Pokemon. But wait, who's this? A Glastrier? At least they captured that Piloswine. Must have been intimidated. Anyway, I found it pretty easily. Heal up quickly, and run back over and hope it doesn't despawn. And still here. Okay, so it means I have enough space between the Poké Center and Glastrier to run back and forth for some heals, which is excellent for my significantly underpowered Pokemon. And that is why I first implemented the guerrilla tactics of Quick Balls, of simply throwing one, and then leaving the fight, then throwing one again, then leaving the fight, and then throwing one again, and then leaving the fight, and so on. At least until I have the Glastrier, or all my Pokemon are dead. Or, option 3, which, are you kidding me? Who put this villager hole here? Anyways. Or, option 3, you run out Quick Balls, and do it the good old-fashioned way, with some battling, and some Dusk Balls. Yeah, you're level 70? Oh, yeah, I guess it really didn't work. Under level they may be, let's give it one more try though. And, looks like it's not even here anymore. Maybe it's hiding in the trees. Yeah, it is despawned. So I guess I'll just go against this Snover and take out all my anger on him instead. Unfortunate for him. Yeah. Fortunately, Santa has me covered with some nice gifts, some retail therapy, and he's even introduced me to his lovely workshop that has even more gifts for me to borrow. It's so lovely of him to just allow me all of these rare candies and such. Goodies to fill my heart with joy. And given the occasion, I even renamed my Piloswine after him. How jolly. And ironically enough, his workshop overlooks an Articuno shrine, which if I ever were to find a Ice Stone plus a orb, I could have the Flying Icicle join my team. In any case, it's time to get back to more grave borrowing. And of course, church pillaging, plus the benefit of raids for some loot and XP. Now for the reason why I was traveling so much. It was all to find this singular biome, the Giant Tree Taiga Hills, which has the benefit of being one of the only biomes that actually has a box legendary that spawns during both the day and at night. So at all times, being that I were to have a house here, I'd get consistent box legendary spawns. Also pretty neat that there just so happens to be a Viking village and a dragon type gym here, so. And I have enough even further ability to loot and borrow. Who put this hole here? As I was saying, I have an even further ability to loot and borrow as I will. and take all of their curry. I also think I found the perfect spot to set up my base, and it's just right down here. Yeah, maybe a misinput, or, misclick on accidentally pressing the wrong button. And maybe I just wanted to do the journey over again, the entirety of the 2,631 meters. At least I won't despawn because the trunks are unloaded. And also I still have my Pokemon, which is the best benefit. And we're back with loot spread among the trees like Frodo's subtle voice in between each of my phrases. In any case, it's time to start building a beautiful house. One that can store my goods, make sure I have my spawn points at this time, and be a base for my general Pokemon needs and operations. Throughout these 100 days, I figured the rustic cabin exterior would be quite the spectacular sight in the middle of a forest. True. So let's cue a montage. And I think it looks pretty nice. Yeah. Anyway, now we are just lacking the materials found deep in the caverns and mines of Moria. And I found this nice little boss Woobat that can use its echolocation and help me find the next cave. So nice of him, I know, right? And the mines certainly delivered with the rest of day 17.
Finding plenty of ore.
And also this mob spawner with decently leveled Pokemon, which would be good for an XP farm. And the best part is, it was attached to a mine shaft with some pretty spectacular loot with diamonds and covered fossils. Not to mention just natural ore generation. But 2 full days in the mine does grow wearisome, so I decided it was time to make my trek back to the house. Oh! Would you look at that? One of the box legendaries. All my Pokemon are fainted. Yeah, not exactly the best time to have all your Pokemon fainted, huh? Right when a legendary Pokemon you've been searching out is right in your face. Fortunately, I did have my heal bag though, so that does prove very useful in situations like these, where super potions and revives are actually the only method to try to catch them. However, that can only last for so long when your Pokemon are weak enough. And potions just aren't enough, so you kinda have to just fall on game plan number 2. Throwing inefficient Ultra Balls and really crossing your fingers that they catch, which let's just say isn't very effective. And the keen Pokemon enjoyers might have realized, I don't have any more revives. And all my Pokemon are gone, including my flying ones. So, I am pretty much stuck throwing Ultra Balls and hoping until, yeah, this is why I decided to revive. So I could actually fly home, the further Pokemon Center, because I don't have a Poke Healer, and really cross my fingers that the Reshiram wouldn't despawn somehow, like 30 chunks away. Yeah. In any case, that just really goes to show how much I really need a Pokemon healer inside my base. Not only for convenience, but also for vicinity if I were to so get more legendary Pokemon in the chunks around my base. And, hey, would you look at that? A miracle happens. What? Yeah, that was my actual reaction. I swear it, I'm not cheating though. Really. In any case, I really needed to craft a healer, and of course I only had yellow on me, and also a Porygon leg? I don't know. Anyway, it was just like up the hill little bit to the left. Just kind of hanging, chilling, vibing. I don't know, pretty weird. Right on the edge of night as well. Naturally, all my Pokemon are defeated quite quickly, and so with a quick return and heal up, and immediate defeat, then return, then heal up, and then coming back, this happened with one quick ball. Last one of its kind. So if you don't know, quick balls are actually the best Pokeball in the game, excluding Master Ball, because they have the highest chance of capture on the first throw. Miracle Bird? I don't know, but it's pretty neat, right? I wasn't honestly expecting that. Did I think a legendary would spawn on the very next day? Oh, certainly not, especially given the odds. But guess what? It completes the first goal, and in itself is a gigantic asset, being a level 70 legendary Pokemon just added to my team. And with actually pretty decent moves at that as well, with Flamethrower, and Ancient Power, and Dragon Breath for some coverage across 3 types. I then finally decided it was time for a naming scheme. That of the gods. With both Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Hestia, the goddess of the hearth. And Flame, quite fitting I think, especially for the legendaries. It's then only natural for a Pokemon's journey to continue, notably for goal number 2, the Master Ball, which gives you so cool of items, yeah. However, raid dens and precious gems both ease my mind whenever I so happen to get unlucky draws. Plus, the fact that everything can be sold for profit. Ah, capitalism. Funnily enough, the entirety of day 22 is just filled with raids, and therefore some exceptional drops, like look at this. The following day I found the Hidden Leaf Village. Quite far away from home at that. And being a village, it has a blacksmith with pretty good gear, all of which I can sell back to them for exorbitant prices. 200k Pokecoins isn't all too bad for only 23 days, I think. Especially when I tend to borrow most of their goods in their homes, because they just are so nice and so caring. So welcoming to Pokemon trainers such as myself. Enough to send me off with a full bag of heals and balls. But the journey continues to another village right next door. I only loot a little bit, I swear. They did, however, have a gym to help level up my mons a little bit. Plus some more Master Ball loots, which are easier to find at nighttime because of how much they glow. Also, totally not a Mega Venusaur boss back there. Day 25, 1/4 the way through, and also one of my favorite Pokemon, Scyther. And all goes perfectly because the Pokemon, one of my favorites, obviously wants to travel with me. And so she joins the team to help in raiding, pillaging, and of course battling. The joy of Pixelmon. I then begin my journey out at sea, flying over and under the waves, finding ancient temples and dungeons, battle towers, and of course boats and buried treasure. A pirate's dream. It brings a tear to my eyes. Naturally, there's also seafoam cities, sitting atop the waves, and seaside snow towns, quite the considerable distance away. But nothing beats taking care of your Pokemon on a frosty afternoon. Wait a minute, it's back? Another legendary Mon after only 8 days? It must be like right outside the building, right? A quick flight will definitely reveal its location. Yeah, 7 minutes of searching later and it's still nowhere to be seen. But I did find this cool Swinub boss. What am I kidding? Anyway, it did help to actually evolve my Pillow Swine, so that's quite thematic, I think. In the air again, snapping at some airships. For the glacier that spent my time wasted scouring the tundra landscapes for nothing. Foolish Team Rocket. To think they'd have their airship in my airspace. It's as simple as beating them up, stealing their loot, then striking the flint and steel. Then the journey simply continues, with a Mega Boss Glalie, which is 4 times weak to Fire-type moves, so it's quite easy to take down. And supplies my first Mega Stone, plus a pretty cool bracelet. but my bags have gotten pretty full at this point, so I think it's about time to head back to my humble abode. And wait a minute, I haven't reintroduced the team in quite some time. So naturally, there's Athena, the Decidui, Hestia, a Reshiram, Claus, a Mammoth Swine, then there's Mawile, Scyther, and Furret, just to round out the team just by their levels alone. And that's the team so far. Certainly some improvements to be made in Pokemon typing and levels, but not too bad. Some new mons are certainly needed. But right now, it's time for house updating. Yeah! Let's spruce up these interiors, shall we? And sort out the 4 backpacks full of loot that I gathered. It's then back to the nighttime search for the Master Ball loots, and hope to get an actual Master Ball from them instead of some wicked throat sprays. But during the daytime, it was back to doing raids. And wait, did you see that? Yes, another Reshiram. That's 3 now, funnily enough. And I'm certainly not complaining, but like, I figured there'd be at least one Zekrom by now, instead of just another Reshiram. In any case, at least this one caught on the exact first ball, so I didn't have to spend like more than a minute catching it. And if you don't believe me by now that the Master Balls are really easy to see at night, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Even chilling in the trees, it's pretty easy to spot. Then of course get more blunder policies. Between both Master Balls and raids, it's actually pretty nice for all of the loot that you receive, such as ability patches, diamonds, and netherite scrap, plus the added benefit of catching Venusaur. Now the only problem is sorting the old inventory. But I suppose I can certainly wait for a little while, because Zacian is easily considered one of the best Pokemon in the game. And I just so happen to be pretty lucky with all of these legendary spawns, especially when I'm just in a birch forest passing through. The problem then lies in catching it.
Please don't kill it, please don't kill it.
Because
Okay, 40%, I can live with that.
Zacian is a powerhouse even when facing a type disadvantage. And even with some tactical revives, it's still not enough for a traditional catch. So it's down to guerrilla tactics again. How lovely, am I right? They are so fun. Plus they even match the color scheme of white and blue.
I've been looking for Pokemon, and now I have one.
Said me in the past, but quite true. Back to Master Ball loots, of course, with no Master Balls. Then of course adding Zacian to the team, then back to looking for light sources, in hopes to get the all too coveted Master Ball. So, of course I replaced my bed upstairs without, setting my spawn. So now I have to fly back. All the way back, past my house and to my death point, only to find that there's some bread, some netherites, and none of my backpacks. It fooled me once, so it won't fool me again. And now it is time to gather all of the supplies that I lost, especially all the Pokeballs and all of the heals, and the backpacks to put them in. So it's back to the polite villagers to borrow some more. And how could you ever leave out Team Plasma? They've just got stuff lying around. So would you rather have games but no Master Balls, or Master Balls with no Master Balls? Chose option number 2 myself. And what do you know? Good old Glastrier has come for
Round 3.
Whoa. Well, that was weird. I didn't know my voice could do that. And there is Glastrier. I actually found him this time.
Fight.
Now that I've spent almost 2 Minecraft days on a single ice horse, and a collective 45 minutes 20 on 3 of them, meaning I spent 2 and change of my 100 days only trying to catch a little icy boy. Then journeyed home and found a nice spot right outside my base to put a little Scarecrow for all the glass cheers that wanted to pop in and eat a legendary spawn. Like, how rude of them. And now to fill the daytimes, between the night times that I usually find my Master Ball loots. And squirrels and rabbits were not harmed in the making of this, I swear. Plus I also caught this cool Ditto I might use. I also found an intact Arceus shrine, which looks really cool. Day 41, and another Zacian has spawned in the forest that I was flying over. Unfortunately, only a skunk tank to be found though, assuming the Zacian despawned. But hey, Desert Temple loot is pretty cool though, right? Plus, this mod pack actually makes the wells that were useless actually useful. Being easily seen in deserts, they really pay off, getting the exact item we needed, then selling the remainder for a sneaky profit. The next 3 days go by pretty fast, looting some religious structures, some villages, and fighting this Mega Steelix, which was pretty easy to take down, having literally Hesty on my side. I also want to point out that Athena is at level 63 and almost the same level as my other legendaries, and my team is actually looking pretty decent. Then to match the Master Ball's notoriety, I had to rename it the Notable, after the one I owe the idea to. The Notable Luke the Notable. And hey, would you look at that? Another legendary flying fire cloud. At this rate, I'll have 6 in my party before day 100. Plus, I have the perfect naming scheme already set up. Can't go wrong with some rams in the pocket. It's back to house time with a fossil cleaner and a machine. All to clean up the dusty fossils in the caves from so long ago. But that's not all. Because if you subscribe right now and help by telling YouTube that I actually exist, you'll get to see a real magic trick. An enchanting table. Yeah, real magic.
Day 49. And the winds have come. Dialaga has appeared.
But she ain't nowhere to be found, man. And that beam in the sky isn't her either. I checked. On the bright side, my fossil machine finished. And I got sweet little baby Kratos. Boy. But now it's back to grinding out some levels. And trainers are really the best place to do it. And raids give a good amount of XP too. Especially with XP candies. And wait, do you see that? An orb? Yes, and who better to get than the flying lightning rod? And of course, in order to get them, we need 375 more Pokemon souls, meaning many Krabbies specifically will die. Raid Pokemon as well, no matter if it's Vulpix or a Girder. Even Keldeo must suffer my wrath. Just kidding. You think I'd actually kill the legendary? Yeah, no, Keldeo's coming with me. But this Mega Garchomp, on the other hand, beat me up, threw me around, and spit sand in my eyes. I then took up the buried treasure hunting occupation, and it didn't go so well for me. Naturally, I had to fly all the way back, across the trees, the mountains, the hills, through the deserts, and savannas, and eventually back to my loot. Plus, the mighty bounty underneath. Greatly upgraded since vanilla. I also found this really cool wide-spanning industrial city, with a factory gym, many houses, a little cafe, a TCG shop, and even a playground. Not to mention a weird hole in the ground that all the NPCs fall into. It works out for me though, I get all their stuff. And hey, I even let out the entire group of them that were stuck in a bush, and visited the holy church of Arceus, backward Arceus, whom raised the primal ground entity, who has long been described to have raised lands, expanded continents, and absolutely obliterate me in battle, like Arceus himself must have trained to this thing, to have one-shot every single one of my mons. An impressive feat, nonetheless. Only natural then for the primal guardian of the seas to join my team wholeheartedly, and fill the spot for my water type coverage quite nicely. A really excellent catch. While traveling back home, I then found a Swana boat, which reminds me of those paddle boats at your local body of water. But the boat is actually a pretty cool wedding venue, complete with an immensely unfortunate groom, left out in the rain at midnight, on his wedding day of all days. But the journey continues with a Beldum spawner, aka Mesa, and weirdly flying Pokemon take damage from landing. The more you know. A very wise decision, I think, just like these glasses I found. They also make you look nerdier, which I already am. And me being excited about an Earth Plate to boost my earthquake damage is not exactly helping my argument. Meanwhile, my Wartortle evolved into a cool Blastoise, which is a definite addition to the team. And while leveling him up, I found a move relearner, which helps relearn moves that each Pokemon had in the past, or from levels prior to you getting them. And he just loves hot tubs. Well, now it's really just the grind. To level up Pokemon, to fill up my soul jar, and open in my PC.
Also, Zacian's now named Zoro.
But before the training arc, I have to acknowledge All the Pokemon gave up their souls and their bodies to be part of the Pokemon experience. Thank you. Oh wait, is that Entei? He's such a chill guy.
Hey, I'm Entei, and I'm chill.
Didn't expect Entei to be so chill. Yeah, he's definitely joining me in taking the souls of the fellow mountain Pokemon, placing their bodies in the lake, aiding in the level up process, and increasing the effort values. Both Hestia's and Claus's EVs are looking nice. This is Mountain News Corporation with breaking news, and mountain populations are lesser by the day. While Fire-type Guardians are doing nothing to stop this disaster-level threat to the mountain ecosystem, and, in fact, joining in the process. We come to you live with Claus level 69, convincing another Fire Guardian, and even going up to his level. We will continue reporting on this as the situation unfolds. This is Mountain News on day 69, signing off. Anyways, I'm Mick, and I took down this Mega Absol. Some pretty sweet XP with him. Then it happened. My orb was finally complete, with the Forest Spirit Souls, which Zekrom did not appreciate. However, once he saw all the boys with me, he knew he had to join in. He's just chill like that. And definitely an easy addition to the team, being Electric Dragon type. And now to go to the place that I've been avoiding these entire 72 days.
Ultra Space.
Jokes aside, this is an exceptional place to be. All the raids, the loot, the Pokemon, all the levels of these Pokemon as well, it's insane. And it's the perfect place to fill up orbs of souls. Thankfully I got one more. Also the cactus sucks. And so do all the other plants. But if you ever need ice stones, which in fact I do, for that orb I just got, this is a great place to get it. And if you're curious why these days are flying by so fast, you should just take a look at the environment and me scouring the entirety of it just to find some loot, some raids, some good luck. It's like, I swear, like 75% of the time. Here's some luck now though. A Lunala, which isn't believably uncommon, but the desire for this Pokemon is not only its legendary status, nor in the difficulty of defeating it, or trying to catch it after a raid battle. It is in fact the ability it has when it's your Pokemon that's so alluring to trainers, including myself. And that is the Wormhole ability, which summons a wormhole that you can get to Ultra Space at any singular time, which is completely notable, and that's why I use the Notable. Plus it matches its color scheme. And now it's time for your regular scheduled searching savanna biomes and deserts for a single shrine to a little zappy boy. And only naturally we have to continue looting, right? All the desert temples, Master Ball loots, both savanna trees and desert wells. And of course, if you think I'd leave out raids like that, you are sorely mistaken. And of course, this cool pirate ship. But let me just say, it's taken a long time, a long distance to travel, in a grand variety of landscapes. Through deserts flat and hilly, to cliff sides scaling thousands high. Traveling, I learned many things. Learned the patterns of the deserts, the patterns in myself, and the patterns of my Pokemon, including the newly named Nyx. Until, finally, I reached the Zapdos Shrine, took a quick selfie, and began the fight. It begins dramatically, but I soon realized it was going to be a lot more annoying than I initially planned for. All because of one simple move. Roost. Which basically just reads, heal half your health. Which when you're trying to catch a Pokemon with low catch rates, legitimately, and get their health low, all of a sudden they just roost and it's all the way back in the green. And green is not good like golf. And while confusion is very good for catch rates, it's not great for actually catching them. So I exited and then redid it, unintentionally resetting all of its roost power points, but eventually catching with a timer ball after a day. Lady Luck definitely had her fun, but also gave me a little bit of a refund in getting a legendary spawn in the form of a Hoopa. And she rewarded me further by, as me showing it through a sped up animation, only caught it in only 2 Ultra Balls. with 58% of health left, which is actually pretty good. Well, isn't that cool? A cute little Hoopa. But now is the time that we talk about the third goal of 8 insanely hard gyms. Not an easy task, but I have a surprise. Goal number 4.
There's 2 hemispheres. Underneath it says, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD. They came in peace." Oh, geez, that's great. Is it lighting halfway decent? Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on
Goal number 4 is God. The very one we saw in those temples so long ago. The very one who's the master of all 18 elements. An avatar among Pokemon. Its creator, Arceus. But it's fossil time again. Would you look at that? Brand new Aerodactyl. Isn't that cool? Right before we head off to Ultra Space, in order to get the final 2 elemental plates that we need. First is the Sky Plate. Next is the... Wait, Veramosa? I guess that's kind of cool. Plus a gold bottle cap. And a weird texture. Oh, and Solgaleo. I guess that's also pretty neat too. Alas, we did not catch either of them. But here's number 2, the Mind Plate. And some nether in the middle of these towers in the ultra deep sea. Plus a Necromosa, which I also did not catch. Then another one appeared in the same den right after it, so that was a little interesting. And if you're curious, I didn't even defeat it the second time. Then getting another Mind Plate for good luck, I decided to head back. Back into the overworld at beautiful sunrise, and naturally proceed to put away all the loot that I just gathered in Ultra Space. And now that I've gathered all the plates that I need, let's gather up all the Pokemon that would best beat up a whole bunch of Ice types. And take on my very first gym, the Ice type gym, whose first trainer is actually not all that tough for my childhood dream team of legendaries, having them all go down pretty fast, in 1 or 2 hits, that is anyway. Even beating them on the first try. And the second trainer actually has nearly the exact same team, which is a little humorous in my opinion. The Avalugg, Lapras, Abomasnow, Arcovich, which is really quite a tank to take down, Rotom, Refrigerator form, which is actually another tanky ice type, Glaceon, and finally Arcovich, which I didn't defeat the last time. A little bit tougher than the last one, but pretty simple. However, Entei ended up being very underperforming since having no EV levels and an unfortunate moveset. And as I'm sure you've noticed, the gym leader has quite the team gap, one-shotting my Mons easily, mostly due to the fact that they are 30 levels higher than my highest Mon, which is just a little bit absurd if you ask me. Even with killing the Rotom in Refrigerator form, I am absolutely no match against this Cloyster who moves first and hits multiple times with Ice Spear. And it hurts even more when it's this slow health bar moving, because it is multiple moves. It's certainly de-incentivizing, I will say that. Enough for my next attempts to go exactly the same, and therefore I would not be coming back. At least until I had maxed Mons, showing just the ridiculousness of how overpowered these gyms are. On the bright side, however, I did rename Zekrom to Terravolt and Blastoise to Metal Pipe. Sorry, had to do it. But back in Ultra Space for some aggravated leveling, I beat up some Necromosas, and of course not actually catching them. Then to get my mind off things, I looted some more, until my bag was full. Flew around some, fought and lost to a Solgaleo, and went around in circles enough that I accidentally found all the things that I already looted again, incentivizing myself to leave and rejoin the productive society of looking for Arceus shrines. And hey look, it's the one we found earlier, setting a waypoint to get there easier too. I then grabbed every elemental plate, not missing a single one. Looks like they're all accounted for. Then I flew as fast as Athena could take me across the skies, until that is I reached my destination, and made my way inside. And the interior is just beautifully striking, like look at these hanging lanterns, and this prismarine dome. Naturally, then there's the chalice at the bottom, for all of the elemental plates that I just brought. all 18 of them. It's also a little annoying that I have to go up for air every time, so I decided to use the wood nearby to make a quick door. And because of this Java, breathe underwater. It's so jank. I love it. The only issue I did find was the fact that you can't see the particle animation when you're in the door frame. But I'll be silent for the last few.
Because it's cool. Like they spin, look at that.
Wow. An Azure flute. The key to summon God. And now all I have to do is just find his house. A desert shrine temple thingy out in the buoys or something like that. Something I even didn't find during my Zapdos search. But unfortunately, it is actually just that much rarer and about the size of this Dynamax Whale Lord. And as the days pass by, in my search across desert plains, weirdly icy spikes next to these deserts, I eventually find it. The oh-so-coveted Temple of Time standing proudly right before my eyes, and naturally the shrine to whom people pray to Arceus. However, I have a secret. Because the time grew thin, earlier this day, I used a command to locate this Temple of Time. I consider it a whisper from Arceus himself, and now is the day that Arceus comes to greet me. As the sun rises, and I naturally prepare my nerves, I glided up the temple steps, along the sandy tile floors, and finally blew into the flute. With the sandstorm rising as Arceus ascends into this time, the confrontation is here. Terravolt makes his approach. And would you look at that? They're about the same size. They're twinning, how cute. And Terravolt even made Arceus flustered with a quick thunder wave. But that does not stop the god among Pokemon, whereas Terravolt only just gets a slight sliver. Eventually, however, after going through a couple Pokemon, get it to 1/4 its normal health, before Athena came in and delivered an almost nearly lethal blow. Had me scared, that's for sure. I did not want to lose my faith this day. It's only natural then to throw an Ultra Ball and wait. I had done it. I had convinced Arceus to join my team and return home. But not before stopping at the churches, those abandoned by the villagers, for their god was gone. And their buildings now destroyed, left to the elements of the earth. Also, is this Revive a Christianity reference? Naturally then, I renamed Arceus, and made my journey back home, across the deserts, the seas, the mountains, the plains, the villages, and of course, the forests where Aversian spawned. And eventually back home, where I could relax and breathe out. And naturally reconsoled myself by looking through my many chests of loot, renamed Zapdos to Zappy, and set out to re-level my Pokemon to fighting fit forms. In raids, of course, who wouldn't? In any case, one of the main goals here is actually to get extreme speed on my Arceus. And that's naturally done just through a couple, single, maybe more raids. And the Solgaleo fight, wow! I lost pretty quickly, and left promptly after. Also because it's day 99, and I want a good battle. So as a final measure, I leveled up all my Pokemon with all the rare candies that I've been hoarding. Each one getting to level 80 exactly, in order to make the trainer's Pokemon also the exact same. But I think it's ultimately a pretty good lineup of Pokemon for this first fight. Tyranitar, the mountain, takes out God, then swaps out into a Cacturn, showcasing that it is a Dark-type tower. He then swaps him out for a Lycanroc, which is taken out decently easily before he sends out his Crocodile, which has a very intimidating Earthquake, which Nyx just can't handle, and Athena just goes down to the Stoutland, which they swapped in. Can't say I was expecting a VGC tournament, but it's back to the healer, and it is what it is. At the very least, I know what Pokemon they have, and what I can actually do against each one. Information is the greatest resource you can have. So, let's get into round 2. Let's set up on the first turn and some decent damage until they swapped out into their gag turn, and effectively couldn't really touch me as soon as I implemented the cheatery strats of potions. Then once coupled with Giga Drain, it is quite simple to just wait them out and slowly deal damage over time, even if they try to swap out to a Pokemon that's weak to my move that I'm using, for some odd reason. Like this Crocodile, which is just obliterated by this. And Extreme Speed easily just finishes it off. Then comes in Stoutland, which Extreme Speed finishes it off pretty much the same exact way. Then it's Lycanroc, who finishes off God. Then Athena comes in to clean it all up. And oh, a Lucario? We haven't seen that before. It can Mega Evolve. How intriguing. That's pretty cool, I have to admit. But has a Mega Lucario matched Zoro before? That's the real question. And the answer is simply no. Then I was down to just a couple more Pokemon, whom Zoro finished off each in one hit. Round 1 is definitely just a warm-up. Because look at the difference here. Only one Pokemon fainted. And now that I've beat up the guy right outside, I get officially invited into the Tower of Darkness. And I love the aesthetic here. All the dark woods and stone, and dark instruments in their chests. Also inviting into Floor 2, the second trainer. Starting with Absol, I'm not even sure if I've seen one yet this game. They immediately swap it out though, into a Scrafty, which quickly takes down Arceus, although Zoro takes them down in equal swiftness of time. And hey, would you look at that, a Mega Absol. I haven't seen one of those either. Samurott. I do quite like a good Samurott, but unfortunately it does take down Zoro, before swapping into Slazzle, and then me swapping into Metal Pipe, which hits a crit, and now it's looking bad for all my mons. Who will go down pretty quickly in turn, but Arceus did defeat a Malamar before going down to Tantrum, unfortunately leading Hestia to go down to the same fate. And hey, would you look at that, it's day 100, and I'm still getting distracted by Ampharos's. But back to the combat you all came for. Actually, it's Absol to start with again, and for me set up with Zoro, before they swap into Slazzle and start pummeling me, forcing a swap into Arceus, and them swapping into Scrafty. Pretty simple just to take them down with some extreme speed. However, the Tantrum's back, and with a vengeance. Not enough to stop 3 arrows coming at him like Boromir, or the Shadow Sneak to finish him off. And it's back to Absol, which goes down pretty easily once Hestia gets in there, which takes a heavy hit from Salazzle. But she gets scared once Metal Pipe gets in the ring and takes Samurott down, and unfortunately she has no one left to protect her. Because, wait a minute, I lose? Yeah, time for round 3. Which went actually, like, perfectly, taking them all down, and at the very end, I still have 5 Pokemon remaining. And it's straight to the next fight, which, let me tell you, has the exact same 6 Pokemon as the last one, so went as easily as just that last round. And that is it. As the sun rises on a new day, it ends the challenge. However, bonus day! We still have this tower boss to finish off, and he only has one single Pokemon, a simple level 103 Urshifu. Dynamaxed. Oh. Yeah, let's just say my team definitely didn't get demolished or put in the dumpster. All in one single shot each. And it's the last one, let's go Hestia! Thanks for watching, that's it. Goodbye. Wait, one more thing.